Today we're doing some invisible effects. Welcome to FilmRiot, the show that takes mystery out of the effects and techniques.
Why is your shirt so wrinkly?
It's not.
Yes, it is.
Okay, it is.
It looks like an old man's skin.
I got it out of the merchandising room. It was folded. I unfolded it and put it right on.
Wait,
so
you
we could do
stole a
this.
shirt from yourself?
Technically, yes.
Why?
Because I was holding my babies and she threw up on me and we had to shoot. And so it was either wrinkly or vomit. I made the right choice.
Fair enough.
So recently I did some work on a few shots that were invisible effects, things that you would never guess were a visual effect unless you were told. Which got me thinking it would be fun to take a look at a few that I had to pull off recently today, and so we will. Okay, go. First up is the most simple and something that we have talked about before, and that is changing the color of an object in a scene. Now I can't show or talk about the project in question, so instead we'll just use quick shots around the office to show the idea, like this one. In the shot from the production, there was an object in the frame that was brightly colored and definitely stood out in a bad way. The scene is dark and dramatic and should have a very specific color palette, which that did not fit into, but this object was overlooked. That's a simple fix, which I will do right inside of Premiere using Lumetri. I'll go to my HSL secondary, use the color picker to select this color, then check the mask using white and black, and now I'll refine my selection by adjusting the hue, saturation, and luminance ranges here. Then I'll add some blur to the mask to help blend in the effect that we're going to be adding, and now I can come down here and adjust the color how I need to, and there you go. Next up is a lot more involved, and that is restructuring the placement of actors in a shot. For instance, take this shot here. Say you need to use it, but the problem is, as you can see, he is nowhere near punching him in the face, which would make this shot unusable, right? Wrong. To make this shot work, I'm going to bring it into my compositor of choice, which of course is After Effects. So here inside of After Effects, I'll duplicate my footage, then I'm going to roto out the actor in the foreground of the top layer. To do this, I'm going to use roto brush, since typical roto would take for f***ing ever. So I'll click my brush, double click on my clip, then paint the portions that I want to remain in the shot. When the brush acts a fool, I'll hold Alt, it turns red, and I paint to remove sections that shouldn't have been selected. Next, I'll let it play forward and refine the frames as I go where needed. And now I have a rotoed shot, which we will need to refine the mask, but we'll do that later. Next, we're going to scale up both layers, keeping them both the same size. This gives us some more movement around the frame. So somewhere around there is probably fine. Next, I'm going to move my foreground layer in a bit and then the attacker over so his fist is right behind our foreground actor for the impact. And our foreground actor's reaction is just a few frames off, which we can fix here just by sliding his layer over just a bit, and the hit and reaction are timed perfectly. And finally, we're going to refine our mask. To do this, we twirl open the roto brush effect in the effect panel. Then we set the feathering high somewhere around 40, which blurs our edges. Then I'll tighten that up using contrast, which I landed on something around 72 for this shot. Then I'll add a sound effect, then jump over to APM Music, find something fitting. I'll do a search, try some stuff out. No. No. Yes. Then download, drop that in, and we have. So in the end, it's the difference of this to this. Now, if you aren't in After Effects, you could do the exact same thing by just masking and doing a roto manually, which is going frame by frame, keyframing your mask to follow what you were cutting out. And just as a small tip, when feathering a mask, something incredibly useful is the mask feather tool. Once you've created your mask, select the tool, which is this feather here, then click the point and drag it. Now you have a visual representation of the feather and can be far more specific on what it is affecting. But now we break and then make a gun slide move. If you're a budding filmmaker, entrepreneur, innovator, domain.com is a place to go when that next idea hits you. When you buy a domain name from domain.com, you're taking the first steps in creating an identity and vision for your brand or idea. The world's top 2 premier and most recognized domain extensions are .com and .net, which means those are the ones that are going to help you build your brand and expand your presence online the best. Of course, domain.com is reliable, affordable, and easy to use. And to show you some love, they're giving you 25% off their already affordable prices when you get domain names, web hosting, and email. Just use the coupon code FilmRiot at domain.com's checkout. And when you think domain names, think domain.com. Logo. And last thing we're going to look at is this. The main thing about this is the slide in the original shot doesn't actually move, which is a pretty simple fix that we've never shown on the show before for some reason. And you can pull this off in any compositing software and almost any editing software too. First, I'm going to duplicate my footage, then I'm going to trim the top layer to be just 2 frames long right when the shot happens, and I'll freeze frame this top layer as well, so now it's just an image. Next, I'll mask around the slide, then I'll move it back, set a keyframe on the position, then move forward a frame, and move it back most of the way. And there we go, a moving slide. Now we can add a shell and a muzzle flash, and we're good to go. And And there you have 3 simple tips for invisible effects to dial in your shots. Again, the music we used in this episode was from APM Music, link in the notes below. You can also find our Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram accounts in the notes below as well. And I'll see you all next week when I save my friends from being a meal intended to induce happiness.